Hi everybody, this is Joe from PrepAgent. I hope you're having a good day. Sorry about the delay. I hit the wrong button, but now I am here as I hit the correct button. So sorry about that little snafu, delayed 2 minutes, but we are here now and we are excited, right everybody? So give me a thumbs up if you're ready to go. Today we're doing contracts. You guys hear me? Excuse me. Okay, so today we're doing contracts. So obviously when we do contracts, we need to start with the question of what are the 4 essentials of a valid contract? Who knows what are the 4 essentials of a valid contract? What are the 4 essentials of a valid contract? What do you guys think? So you got Luna, Natalie here today. Luna, ni hao ma. Natalie, ¿cómo estás? Okay, so we got capable parties. We have mutual consent, consideration, and lawful object. Everybody got that? So you got capable parties, consideration, lawful object, and mutual consent. Mutual consent, meeting of the minds, and agreement are the same thing. Okay, if you guys didn't know that. Okay, good. So those are the 4 essentials of valid contracts. Let's do the question on the board, which is related to that. Luna says she's good. I was trying to use what you taught me last webinar. We were talking about languages, Luna. I hope I said it correctly. Okay, which of the following is not essential to all contracts? A, none are correct. B, capable parties. C, in writing. Or D, mutual consent. What do you guys think? And the answer is C, in writing. So writing is not essential to a valid contract, right guys? Are we right? Yes. Okay, so writing is not essential to a valid contract. Okay? But are there contracts that need to be in writing? Are there contracts that need to be in writing? Okay, the answer is yes, there are. What statute would dictate which contracts need to be in writing? What statute would dictate what contracts need to be in writing? What do you guys think? Statute of frauds. Good. Statute of frauds. Good job, everybody. If, according to the statute of frauds, a contract needs to be in writing, but it is not in writing, what is the status of that contract? This is kind of a trick question. Excuse me, guys. Gotta drink some water. If there's a contract that needs to be in writing according to statute of frauds, but it is not in writing, what is the status of that contract? It would not be void or voidable, because remember, it's not void because that's not one of the essentials of a valid contract. We just went over that, right, guys? So the answer would be unenforceable. Great job, everybody who got that. That's a tougher one, so if you didn't know that, don't feel bad. That's a tougher one. But often it comes up, what is the difference between unenforceable and void? Okay? Well, there you have the difference. Okay, an unenforceable contract could still have the four essentials of a valid contract. There still could be agreement, capable parties, lawful logic, consideration. But for one reason or another, according to the statute of frauds, it needs to be in writing. And therefore, if it's not in writing, it's unenforceable, but it's still a valid contract. Does everybody get the difference there? Okay. Good job, everybody. The following are required to be in writing except A, sale of a vacant lot, B, sale of condominium, C, all of the answers are incorrect, D, sale of a personal residence. And the answer is C, all the answers are incorrect. Okay. We just talked about the statute of frauds. A parcel of vacant land is listed for $100,000, requiring 20% down with the seller to carry back the balance. The broker brings in a full cash offer, but the owner refuses. The broker is entitled to A, half of the commission, B, the full commission, C, nothing, or D, a commission as part of the down payment. What do you guys think? And the answer is C, nothing. The seller has the right to decide what is a qualified buyer. Remember, you're hired to find a buyer, but you have to find a buyer within the seller's terms, whatever they require. Okay? And they all have their different requirements. Some requests are rather quirky, but at the end of the day, it's their home. Who here could tell me the difference between a bilateral and a unilateral contract? Who here could tell me the difference between a bilateral and unilateral contract? Bilateral and unilateral. Bilateral is 2 promises. Unilateral is 1 promise. Can you guys give me an example of a bilateral contract? Can you guys give me an example of a bilateral contract? Who here could give me an example of a bilateral contract? Bilateral, good. An open listing can be considered unilateral because the broker is not promising to look for a buyer. Does everybody get that? So in an open listing, that could be considered unilateral, but exclusive listing is bilateral because 2 parties are binded to each other. Has everybody got that? Okay, so can you guys give me an example of a unilateral contract other than the one I just mentioned? So I see some of you guys writing an option. That's great. Why is an option a unilateral contract? There's only 1 promise. The word option by definition means you're not promising anything. So that would be a unilateral contract. A lost dog sign is absolutely a unilateral contract. Good job, Brandon. Yeah, when you post a dog sign, if I see your lost dog sign, I don't have to go looking for Muffy. But if I find Muffy, you got to pay me. So lost dog would be unilateral. So we have a option contract. The option contract is the best real estate example I could think of for a unilateral contract. Okay? Those are the best ones. Okay, moving right along. Were you guys in the webinar last night? Who's in the webinar last night with Adrian? Did he do great or what? Isn't he the best? Who was in the webinar last night with Adrian? Where's the people? Okay, those of you guys who were in the webinar last night with Adrian, what'd you guys learn? Everybody name something you learned. Who needs me here when we got Adrian? Okay, anybody? I was not in on the webinar, but I had a chance to listen to it. I know you guys learned a lot of things. So, or it says ingress and egress. Good. Excellent. Good stuff. That means going in and going out. Great stuff. Okay, regarding a promissory note. A, the deed of trust secures the promissory note. B, a promissory note secures the deed of trust. C, the promissory note is not part of the deed of trust. Or D, the grant deed secures the promissory note. What do you guys think? Okay, the answer is A. The deed of trust secures the promissory note. What is a promissory note? Who knows what is a promissory note? What is a promissory note? Anybody know? A promissory note is evidence of the debt. Evidence of the debt. Okay, good. So you have that promissory note, and then if you get a mortgage or a deed of trust, however you do the loan, that enforces the promissory note. But it starts with the promissory note, not the other way around. So it starts with you making the pledge. Has everybody got that? So that's step one. Right? And then the rest of it follows through after that. Okay, what is the sum of money a buyer may submit with an offer to purchase known as? A, liquidated damages. B, a limited liability premium. C, an earnest money deposit. Or D, a warranty bond. What do you guys think? What is the sum of money a buyer may submit with an offer to purchase known as? And the answer is C, an earnest money deposit. It's also known as a good faith deposit, earnest money deposit, a good faith deposit. Why do they have that? They have that there to show that you are serious, kind of like an engagement ring. So Tina Fletcher wrote A Promise to Pay. So if I went to Tina and said, Tina, will you marry me? Will you marry me? What would you say? You'd be like, Joe, this is really awkward. Like, you're just teaching a class online. We don't know each other. It's really weird. But you'd kind of laugh and be like, whatever, he's joking. Right, guys? But if I showed up at Tina's house with an engagement ring and said, Tina, will you marry me? Then she'd be like, this is awkward because he's serious, right? Super awkward. Okay, all because of that engagement ring. And that engagement ring is kind of like the deposit. It shows that you're serious. Shows that you're serious. You guys got that? Shows that you're serious about your offer. And much like the engagement ring, if you mess up during the escrow period, otherwise known as the engagement period, okay, you're probably not going to get that deposit back. Okay, most real estate contracts contain pre-printed clauses or space for information to be added in writing. In the interpretation of such contracts, A, printed parts take precedent over the written parts. B, the written parts and the printed parts are given equal consideration. C, the written parts take precedent over the printed parts. Or D, no changes or amendments to the printed clauses are permitted by law. What do you guys think? The answer is C, the written parts take precedent over the printed parts. Okay, good. What are you guys doing this weekend? Are you guys going to some open houses? We should all be going to open houses this weekend, right, guys? Who's going to some open houses this weekend? That's if you're going to get into residential sales. If you guys are getting into residential sales, every Sunday we should be going to the open houses. Who's doing that? Remember, guys, the goal is not just to pass the exam. The goal is to sell real estate. Pass the exam is a step towards that. Oh, Tina says, Joe, I go say you look like Jason Mazar. So I would say, yeah. Who's Jason Mazar? Is he handsome? I don't even know who he is. But thank you, Tina. I appreciate it. And a big high five to your girls. Okay, so who's going to the open houses on Sunday? Okay, so I want you guys going to the open houses on Sunday because you guys should be talking to agents, understanding the inventory in your neighborhood, starting to learn more about which brokers function how, understanding what their policy are, how they go about doing things. You'll get a better idea of where you want to sign up if you don't know already. So it's definitely a good idea. And also, honestly, it just gets you motivated. Because right now you're studying and practicing could feel a little bit distant and far off. But if you're studying for your exam and you just take 30 minutes to an hour, not a whole lot of time, but if you take like just 30 minutes to go check out some open houses, it might keep your head in the game and keep you focused on why you're doing this. And honestly, if you don't like going to the open houses, you may want to question why you're studying. But if you do like going to the open houses and seeing what people are doing, then you'll be that much more motivated to go sell some real estate. Right? Obviously, this is referring to people who want to get involved in residential sales. Okay. There's just a lot of people who pass the exam and then they're just like, oh, now what? Like, why did I do this? Okay, the duration of a listing agreement is A, whatever is negotiated between the agent and seller. B, whatever is negotiated between the broker and the seller. C, 90 days. Or D, 3 months. Whatever is negotiated between the broker and seller. Adrian, I just had a wonderful idea. Are you guys ready for my idea? I'm going to share it with Adrian. I'm going to share it publicly with all of you guys as well. Who's ready for my wonderful idea? I just had it. It just popped into my head this second. Who's ready for my great idea? I think this is like the best idea I've ever had in my life. Okay, what I'd like to do. So Monday we have a webinar, okay? And I would like you to go to the open houses this Sunday. And I would like you to list the things that you see this weekend that apply to what you learned as studying for your real estate exam. And we will discuss them on Monday as a way to take some of the information that you've been studying for your real estate exam and seeing how it applies to real life. For example, when you go there, you will see somebody with a listing contract. You will see maybe on the listing sheet how big it is, like the square footage. You will see fixtures there. You'll even see some violations. Like you may see some people say, oh, the commission is 6% in this area. 6%, that's what it is. Okay? So you might see some Sherman Antitrust Act violations. Okay? What do you guys think? You may ask, is this neighborhood residential or commercial? And you may understand that it's zoned for different types of things. Okay? I know it sounds difficult at first, but if you really look at it, you will see a lot of stuff that's related to your exam. What do you guys think of that idea? And then you come Monday, so this will be a good way to help study for your exam, but also understand a little more of what you're seeing when you go look at open houses on Sunday. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Good idea or bad idea? So you'll see agency relationships at work. A lot of people say this stuff is not relevant what you actually do, but they're not really looking with an open mind when they do that. This stuff is relevant. Obviously not all of it, and some's more relevant than others, but I'll just tell you this. How big is an acre? How big is an acre? Who here knows how big an acre is? Congratulations, James Tabor, on passing the exam. Good stuff. Okay, an acre is 43,560 square feet, right, guys? And if you go to a real estate agent and say, how big is an acre? And they go, I don't know. All right, you're probably not going to think very highly of that real estate agent, right? So that's just one example of how this is relevant to what you'll do in real life. And a lot of you guys learned that fact as you've been studying. Some of you knew it before, I'm sure, but a lot of us, including myself, only learned that an acre is 43,560 square feet when I started studying for the real estate exam. Okay? So that's what we're going to try and do. So I want everybody to go with a notepad or an iPad and start writing down things you see this weekend that have come up in our webinars, in the questions, in your studies, things of that nature. Good stuff? What do you guys think? Good idea? Good idea? Yes? Congratulations, Jennifer Howell. Big fist bump for you. What state are you going to be in, Jennifer? Where are you going to be practicing? Congratulations, Jennifer. Okay, with that being said, let's do another question. The basic purpose of a listing agreement is to authorize the broker to A, sell a house, B, market the house, C, negotiate the contract, or D, find a buyer. Ooh, California. What city in California? It's cool when people come back in and say they pass. I think it lets everybody else know who's in this chat that they're on the right path. Do you guys agree? When people come in and say they pass, it kind of lets the rest of us know that we're doing the right thing. So that's awesome. Okay, and the purpose of a listing contract is to find a buyer. California knows how to party. Keep it rockin'. Keep it rockin'. Santa Clarita. Ooh, it's a fancy area. Jennifer's fancy. Santa Clarita, that's where Santa Clarita Diet is, where Drew Barrymore becomes a zombie and starts eating people, and she's a real estate broker. Do you guys ever see Santa Clarita Diet? It's on Netflix. You guys should watch it. It's about Drew Barrymore, who's a real estate broker. It's about practicing real estate in Santa Clarita. Okay. Right, when a lease transfers all of his or her interest in the property, it is called A, sale of personal residence, B, assignment, C, assumption, or D, transfer. I'm going to get myself a fancy house in Santa Clarita. How many of you guys, when Jennifer said Santa Clarita, you're like, I've heard that before somewhere. Why did I know that? And you're like, oh yeah, Santa Clarita Diet. Okay, the answer is assignment. Assignment, good. When you assign, you transfer interest. When you assume, you just take over responsibility. Assumption is just taking over responsibility. If the owners of a shopping center want a major department store's lease to provide rental payments that reflects the store's sales, they are most likely to use which of the following types of leases? A, net, B, gross, C, percentage, or D, flat fee? And the answer is C, percentage. By the way, for those of you following me on Instagram, I posted a video on how to use our new vocabulary worksheet there. It's on my IGTV. Check that out. Some of you guys may have seen it already. Look at my Instagram TV channel. I'm even thinking about posting some of these webinars on Instagram if you guys want. It's all up to you. We're here for you, whatever works best. But check that out. I did post that video there. It's about a 3-minute video about how to use our vocabulary worksheet system, because it is a little innovative, which means some of you may not be familiar how to use it. So I did post it there. Oh, and Adrian just posted the link. Adrian mentioned he's getting a lot of people asking how to use it. And so based on his feedback to me, we created this video. And we hope that helps you guys a little more, because we want everybody to understand how to use it, because it really is a good program. It's a good, that vocabulary worksheet program we installed on the control panel. We really feel it's good stuff. It'll help you guys pass and hopefully become an essential part of your studying. That's the goal. Okay, an exclusive agency listing between the broker and the owner incorrectly states $6 rather than 6% as the commission payable to the broker if he produces a buyer. If the owner sells the property himself, the broker is entitled to A, $6, B, 6% regardless of mistakes, C, an amount to be determined in arbitration, or D, nothing. What do you guys think? And the answer is nothing, because it's an exclusive agency listing, so the owner sells them themselves, get nothing. So that's kind of a trick question there, but it looks like you guys were on it. Looks like we don't have Ann Morris or Lisa here today. Oh. They're usually pretty regular students. I'm sure they'll be here Monday, though. You other guys notice that? No Ann today? All right, here we go. Renee, it's your first webinar. Welcome, Renee. We're glad to have you. I would try to pronounce your last name, but it looks difficult, and I don't want to kind of ruin your last name. So I'm sure it's wonderful. Okay. One effect of a clause in a sales agreement that states that time is of the essence might be that A, the seller can take care of matters of his convenience. B, the agent must see the contract as being fulfilled prior to closing. C, the buyer can take matters of his convenience. Or D, all parties must attend to those details called for in the agreement in a timely manner. What do you guys think? And the answer is D. All parties must attend to those details called for in agreement in a timely manner. So before we went over the 4 essentials of a valid contract, right guys? And then we went through statute of frauds, which has to do in writing. What statute is related to time? What statute is related to time? What do you guys think? So statute of frauds has to do with writing. What statute is related to time? What do you guys think? Statute of limitations. Statute of limitations. Good. Now, we're getting close to the end of the webinar today, and there's one topic I wanted to cover with you guys before we wind up for the day and get ready for our weekend. Okay? When we talk in property ownership, we discuss less than freehold estates and freehold estates. And we go through the less than freehold estates, which are estate for years, periodic tenancy, estate at will, estate at sufferance. And we say those are leases because they're for a limited period of time. Right, guys? Now, there's certain lease contracts, forms of how you could pay. That's different than those less than freehold estates. There are 4 of those that you need to know for your exam. What are the 4 types of lease contracts that you need to know? What do you guys think? Or was it 3? Did I mess up? I think it might have been 3. Oops. What are they? What do you guys think? Nice job, Brandon. So there are 4. I'm too ready for the weekend myself. So you got a net lease, a gross lease, a percentage lease, and a sandwich lease. Brandon's more on it than I am today. Okay, so these are types of contracts. So let's go through them in the order Brandon wrote. So first you have the net lease. What is a net lease? Who knows? What's a net lease? So a net lease means that you are paying for taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Okay? Typical in commercial leases, tax, insurance, and maintenance. A gross lease is when you're paying a set amount. That's your standard rental, like $1,000 a month, for example. Okay? All right, so it's like $1,000 a month, it's a set amount. A percentage lease is when you're paying based upon a percentage of the gross receipts. Okay? So in a commercial, like retail property, for example, you pay based upon the percentage of the money that's coming in. And a sandwich lease is also known as subletting. Many of you guys more commonly will hear it as subletting. And that's when the lessor is also the lessee. Meaning you rent from somebody else, and then you take that property and you rent it out to another. Okay? And this is allowed unless otherwise stated. And usually it's otherwise stated. In your standard lease agreements, they state you can't do that. But if it's not stated, by default, you're allowed to do that. A lot of people get that wrong on their exams. So that's that for today. I just wanted to go over that quickly before we round up for the weekend. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. This is Joe from PrepAgent with Adrian. Remember our homework. We're going to get out there in the public and we're going to try and see what it is that we've been studying for the real estate exam applies to real life. And we're going to really make an effort to do that. Hopefully that'll prompt us to do some research, put some of these things into context, and really kind of apply what we're learning. And hopefully that'll motivate you guys to learn a little more. And we'll see where we go from there. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.